Hey everyone, you're watching the Esperanza 243, presenting the Westing Game Part 3. I believe in Part 2 I finished off with Mr. Wexler, Dr. Wexler, sorry. Dr. Wexler cutting off a corn from Mrs. Crow's foot. She was explaining, and in that process she was telling him that his daughter kicked her in the shin. No religion in the home. I find that a bit offensive. And then it was skipped to Mr. Ho and one of his sons, Doug. Doug telling his father about what Otis told him. And Mr. Ho was like, "What? Why an Oriental rug? Could have been Persian or Chinese or whatever." And he tells his son to go study. And that's where we are. What do you mean his corpse is rotting on an Oriental rug? Some kind of Persian rug, maybe a Chinese rug. Mr. Ho joined his son at the glass sidewall of the 5th floor restaurant. And while you were wasting precious time listening to an overaged delivery boy with an overactive imagination when you should have been studying. It was not a question. Mr. Ho never asked questions. Don't shrug at me, go study. Sure, Dad. Doug jogged off through the kitchen. It was no use arguing that there was no school tomorrow, just track practice. He jogged down the back stairs, no matter what excuse he gave. Go study, his father would say. Go study. He jogged into the Ho's rear apartment, stretched out on the bare floor, and repeated, "Go study," to 20 sit-ups. Only 2 customers were expected for the dinner hour. Shin Ho's restaurant could seat 100. Mr. Ho slammed the reservations book shut, pressed a hand against a pain in his ample stomach, unwrapped a chocolate bar, and devoured it quickly before acid etched another ulcer. Back home again, is he? Well, Westing won't get off so easy this time. Not on his life. A small, delicate woman in a long white apron stood in silence before the restaurant's east window. She stared longingly into the boundless gray distance as if far, far on the other side of Lake Michigan lay China. Sandy McSouthers saluted as the maroon Mercedes swung around the curved driveway and came to a stop at the entrance. He opened the car door with a ceremony reserved only for Judge J.J. Ford. "Look up there, Judge, there's smoke coming from the Westing house." A tall black woman in a tailored suit, her short clipped hair touched with gray, slipped out from behind the wheel. He handed the car keys to the doorman and cast a disinterested glance at the house on the hill. "They say nobody's up there, just the corpse of old man Westing rotting away on an Oriental rug," Sandy reported as he hoisted a full briefcase from the trunk of the car. "Do you believe in ghosts, Judge?" "There is certain to be a more rational explanation." "You're right, of course, Judge." Sandy opened the heavy glass door and followed on the judge's heels through the lobby. "I was just repeating what Otis said." "What?" Yeah. "Otis Amber is a stupid man, if not downright mad." J.J. Ford hurried into the elevator. She should not have said that. Not her. Not the first woman to have been elected to a judgeship in the state. She was tired after a trying day, that was it. Or was it? So Sam Westing has come home at last. Well, she could sell the car, take out a bank loan, pay him back in cash. But would he take it? Please don't repeat what I said about Otis Amber, Mr. McSouthers. Don't worry, Judge. The doorman escorted her to the door of apartment 4D. What you tell me is strictly confidential. And it was. J.J. Ford was the biggest tipper in Sunset Towers. I saw some Chris Theodorakis was too excited to stutter out the news to his brother. One arm shot out and twisted up over his head. Dumb arm. Theo squatted next to the wheelchair. Listen, Chris, I'll tell you about that haunted castle on the hill. His voice was soothing and hushed in mystery. Somebody is up there, Chris, but nobody is there. Just rich Mr. Westing, and he's dead. Dead as a squashed June bug and rotting away on a moth-eaten oriental rug. Chris relaxed, as he always did when his brother told him his story. Theo was good at making up stories. And the worms are crawling in and out of the dead man's skull, in and out of his ear holes and his nose holes, his mouth holes, in and out of all his holes. Chris laughed, then quickly composed his face. He was supposed to look scared. Theo leaned closer. And high above the putrid corpse, a crystal chandelier is tinkling. It tinkles and tinkles. But not one breath of air stirs in that gloomy tomb of a room. Gloomy tomb of a room. Theo will make a good writer someday, Chris thought. He wouldn't spoil this wonderful spooky Halloween story by telling him about the real person up there, the one with the limp. So Chris sat quietly, his body at ease, and heard about ghosts and ghouls and purple waves, and smiled at his brother with pure delight. A smile that could break your heart, Sidel Pulaski, the tenant in 3C, always said. But no one paid any attention to Sidel Pulaski. Sidel Pulaski struggled out of the taxi, large and first. She was not a heavy woman, just wide-hipped from years of secretarial sitting. If only there was a ladylike way to get out of a cab. Her green rhinestone-studded glasses slipped down her fleshy nose as she grappled with a tall triangular package and a stuffed shopping bag. If only that lazy driver would lend her a hand. Not for a nickel tip, he wouldn't. The cabbie slammed the back door and sped around the curved driveway, narrowly missing the Mercedes that Sandy was driving to the parking lot. At least the never-there-when-you-need-him doorman had propped open the front door. Not that he ever helped her, or noticed her for that matter. No one ever noticed. Sidel Pulaski limped through the lobby. She could be carrying a high-powered rifle in that package, and no one would notice. She had moved to Sunset Towers, hoping to meet elegant people, but no one had invited her in for so much as a cup of tea. No one paid any attention to her, except that poor crippled boy whose smile could break your heart, and that bratty kid with the braid. She'll be sorry she kicked her in the shin. Juggling her load, earrings jingling and charm bracelet jangling, Sidel Pulaski unlocked the several locks to apartment 3C and bolted the door behind her. There'd be fewer burglars around here if people listened to her about putting in deadbolt locks. But nobody listened. Nobody cared. On the plastic-covered dining table, she set out the contents of the shopping bag. 6 cans of enamel, paint thinner, and brushes. She unwrapped the long package and leaned 4 wooden crutches against the wall. The sun was setting over the parking lot, but Sadell Pulaski did not look out her back window. From the side window, smoke could be seen rising from the Westinghouse, but Sadell Pulaski did not notice. No one ever notices Sadell Pulaski, she muttered. But now they will. Now they will. Interesting. Chapter 4. The Corpse Found. Whew! I was wondering when that would happen. The Halloween moon was full. Except for her receding chin, Turtle Wexler looked every inch the witch, her dark, unbraided hair streaming wild in the wind from under her peaked hat, a putty wart pasted on her small beaked nose. If only she could fly to the Westinghouse on a broomstick instead of scrambling over rocks on all fours. What with all she had to carry. Under the long black cape, the pockets of her jeans bulged with necessities for the night's dangerous vigil. Doug Ho had already reached the top of the cliff and taken his station behind the maple on the lawn. The track star was chosen timekeeper because he could run faster than anyone in the state of Wisconsin. Oh, it's set in Wisconsin. Here she comes. It's about time. Shivering knee-deep in damp leaves that couldn't do his leg muscles much good, he readied his thumb on the button of the stopwatch. Turtle squinted into the blackness that lay within the open French doors, open as though someone or something was expecting her. There's no such thing as a ghost. Besides, all you had to do was speak friendly-like to them. Ghosts, like dogs, know when a person's scared. Slightly true. Ghosts, or worse, Otis Amber had said. Well, not even the worst could hurt Turtle Wexler. She was pure of heart and deed. She only kicked shins in self-defense, so that couldn't count against her. She wasn't scared. She was not scared. Hurry up! That was Doug from behind the tree. At $2 a minute, 25 minutes would pay for subscription to the Wall Street Journal. She could stay all night. She was prepared. Turtle checked her pockets. 2 sandwiches, Sandy's flask filled with orange pop, a flashlight, her mother's silver cross to ward off vampires, the putty warts on her nose, soaked in Angela's perfume in the event she was locked up with the stinking corpse, was clogging her nostrils with sticky sweetness. Turtle took a deep breath of chill night air and flinched with pain. She was afraid of dentists, not ghosts, or don't think about purple waves. Think about $2 a minute. Now 1, 2, 3, 3.5. Go! Doug checked his stopwatch. 9 minutes. 10 minutes. 11 minutes. Suddenly, a terrified scream, a young girl's scream, pierced through the night. Should he go in, or was this one of the brat's tricks? Another scream, closer. Eee! Clutching the bunched cape around her waist, Turtle came hurtling out of the Westinghouse. Eee! I don't know how to do that scream. That was hilarious. Turtle had seen the corpse in the Westinghouse, but it was not rotting, and it was not sprawled on the oriental rug. The dead man was tucked in a 4-poster bed. A throbbing whisper. Purple, purple. Or was it turtle? Turtle. Whatever it was scary. Had beckoned her to the master bedroom on the second floor. And maybe it was a dream. No, it couldn't be. She ached all over from the tumble down the stairs. And there I will stop. And you will have to wait next week for more parts. Sorry. I get excited when it comes to stuff like that. Because then I know when to do the cliffhangers. Alright, I will talk to you guys later. As I said, my vlog, I'll be posting Journey to the Center of the Earth video walkthroughs on my Google+. Pay attention to that. I'm going to be advertising it everywhere as well, just because I want people to know that it's out there, that they can watch it whenever they want, rather than paying attention to the silent walkthrough that's on YouTube. So, I will see you guys later. This is the Esperanza 243, signing off.